Hi, I'm Magare, and I've done a series of paintings which tell a story, and this is what I'd like to present to you now. How it came about was I'm fairly new to doing painting, and I was sitting one day thinking about the project I would like to do, because I'd like to do projects to experiment with things and learn different things. So I was sitting there one day thinking about the projects I'd like to do, and a voice came into my mind. Now, I'm used to sort of talking to my guides and stuff, so it's not so unusual to get advice along the way. So the question was, would you like to use your skill for the benefit of people? And I thought, well, yes, I would. And instantly, I got a series of 5 paintings that came into my mind, one after the other, just instantly. So I quickly sketched them down, uh, while they were still fresh in my mind. And I understood the story straight away. I knew what it was getting at. So I've gone about and I've done the paintings and I've sort of written down the story. So this is what I'll be presenting in this video. Now, it's just a small thread in terms of, family and community. It's just something that that I think it's worth thinking about, in the discussion. So enjoy. And I hope it sort of triggers people into sort of thinking more about this stuff. So here are the paintings.
The Old Village. The first is a depiction of a village. For the most part, humans have always lived in villages, clans, tribes, or extended families. We are gregarious in nature and thrive with others. We share our material resources, labour, food, shelter, and the means to be safe and secure. We also share our spiritual resources, love, acceptance, and spiritual purpose. All of this is essential for our ongoing survival and growth evolution. In a village, work was performed locally, so family life was not disrupted by industry. In many circumstances, families worked together in cottage industries. Food was also produced locally. There was some trade, but it never supplanted village life, only enhanced it. This is how humanity existed for thousands of years. The Industrial Revolution. In a time not so long ago, in our collective past, we experienced an industrial revolution. This brought about a migration of large numbers of people from the villages to live closer to the factories. Cities had started to grow before this time, and this migration increased their size. Whilst the machines performed work normally done by humans, they still required a lot of human resources to run. Unfortunately, the way these new factories were set up, it meant that people were ultimately slaves to the machines, not the other way round. Machines could run 24 hours a day, so people had to accommodate this, and for the first time in history, they had to work around the clock. The security and cohesion of the village, clan, tribe, or extended family was sacrificed in this migration. Whilst the Industrial Revolution was not the only factor involved in the death of the village, it was a major turning point in how people organised themselves. Isolating the nuclear family. I came across an article which encapsulated my thoughts about this. It's an article by David Brooks titled "The Nuclear Family Was a Mistake." This appeared in the March 2020 issue of The Atlantic online magazine. I have put a link to the article below. The term nuclear family only appeared in the mid-20th century. Before this time, people only talked about family, and this included the idea of the extended family. But in the 1940s and 50s, this new term was coined. There are many reasons why people became isolated in their nuclear families, one being the Industrial Revolution. But there are other factors which led to this. But that is a whole discussion in itself. In its isolation, there are a lot more stresses on the nuclear family unit. They didn't get the support from the extended family. Women often became isolated within these units. Men who spent long hours away at work were isolated from their families. With added stresses, dysfunctional behaviour thrived. Children within the unit didn't have the advantage of a range of role models. Again, this is a generalisation. Some families have done okay, some still have links with their extended families, but the trend away from this seems to be increasing, and the disintegration of the nuclear family itself is also increasing. There are many factors contributing to this, but I see it mainly as a result of the pressures within due to its isolation. I would encourage you to read the article mentioned above because it goes into so much more than I am willing to cover in this brief exposé. This is a quote by David Brooks. The family structure we've held up as the cultural ideal for the past half-century has been a catastrophe for many. It's a time to figure out better ways to live together. Another excerpt. Extended families have two great strengths. The first is resilience. An extended family is one or more families in a supporting web. Your spouse and children come first, but there are also cousins, in-laws, grandparents, a complex web of relationships among, say, 7, 10 or 20 people. If a mother dies, siblings, uncles, aunts and grandparents are there to step in. If a relationship between a father and child ruptures, others can fill the breach. Extended families have more people to share the unexpected burdens. When a kid gets sick in the middle of the day or when an adult unexpectedly loses a job. A detached nuclear family, by contrast, is an intense set of relationships among, say, 4 people. If one relationship breaks, there are no shock absorbers. In a nuclear family, the end of the marriage means the end of the family, as it was previously understood. End of quote. Now that the nuclear family is isolated, the state steps in as a support mechanism. I will leave it up to you to decide whether this was just by chance or by design. Often this support has been used as a way of modifying behaviour or to ensure obedience to government dictates. The Awakening. We are in auspicious times at present here on earth. There is a huge transformation happening, affecting every single soul. It's often referred to as the Ascension. This signifies humanity evolving from third density beings into fifth density beings. Some people refer to this as dimensions. We are vibrational beings. We are made of light. This involves an understanding of basic quantum physics. Matter is not solid. It's in a constant flux between matter and energy. When the flux is rapid enough, matter appears solid. It's like looking at a fan or propeller. When it's spinning fast enough, it appears solid. The ascension process involves our vibrations becoming less dense. In the third density, we are prone to the heavier emotions, greed, hate, anger, etc. In the fifth density, the emotions of love, compassion, altruism are much more prominent. This process is happening right now. It's incremental, bit by bit. We've been experiencing the effects of this for a while. For instance, how we experience time has changed. It seems to have sped up. Humanity is awakening to the divinity within. This process involves a lot of self-reflection and hard work to release behaviours, thoughts, and the stories that we carry within us that hold us back. We can't take our baggage with us. Nothing can stop this process, and it's so much easier if people work with the changes by doing their inner work. Otherwise, people will feel overwhelmed by the change, which makes it so much harder for people to keep their heads above the water, so to speak. Part of our awakening is realising we can create the world that we want. We can create our new village. One thing that has irked me is the use of the word community. Common usage is to describe any group as a community. This is a long way away from its original intent. To me, a community has 2 factors in it, something in common and unity. That is, people living together cohesively in the same place. To label a group as community just because they have one thing in common is a nonsense. Added to this, people will try to speak on behalf of this community, even though there hasn't been any agreement or cohesion within that so-called community. It's as ludicrous as talking about the blue-eyed community or the brown-eyed community. Just because they have blue eyes doesn't mean you all agree and think the same way. So, to me, a community has something in common, e.g. living in the same area, but also has cohesion. That is, people living together harmoniously. And just as in any personal relationship, relationships within a community takes a lot of work. It doesn't just magically happen. People have to get together, talk together, work out solutions together. This is a dying art. Many people aren't able to converse with people who have differing views. So in creating our new villages, we will have to learn how to work together for our common good. Now, there are reasons why people rejected the village, clan, tribe scenarios, and these will have to be worked through. Often, in small towns, people can be ostracised for no reason, or can feel limited in their lives. Gossip and feuding can also be a negative factor in small villages. We would need to find a suitable way of dealing with the negative aspects if our new villages are to work. Another quote from David Brooks's article. But while extended families have strengths, they can also be exhausting and stifling. They allow little privacy. You are forced to be in daily intimate contact with people you didn't choose. There's more stability, but less mobility. Family bonds are thicker, but individual choice is diminished. You have less space to make your own way in life. In the Victorian era, families were patriarchal, favouring men in general and firstborn sons in particular. End of quote. So, looking to the future, my hope is that we can find a way where we are able to create places where we live and work cohesively with family, school and business life being balanced and integrated. I would also hope we don't pigeonhole people in roles for any reason, caste, gender, age, etc. We each have come to Earth to fulfill our sole purpose, and I would hope that we each have the right and opportunity to live that purpose, and that any living situations we create take this into account.
So that's my 2 cents worth. I hope it's triggered people into sort of thinking a bit more about it. Like we're at an amazing time right now. It's entering the age of Aquarius, where all the old structures are sort of tumbling down, and we have the chance to build something new from the ground up, grassroots. But in order to do that, we need to be clear about what we want to build up again. So I think, a lot more discussion needs to be had around family and community and what we want to build. And remember, there's an old adage that says it takes a village to raise a child.